Good evening, everyone. This is your evening news recap. I hope all of you guys had a wonderful day. My day was all right. We've got a lot of news to cover, so for those who are coming for the news, it's a good day to be here. Yeah, I hope all of you guys had a good day. Personally, didn't do much. Just kind of sat around, wrote about the news, and that's about it. Not much to say for me. Yeah, I hope all you guys are doing well. Today is shoot, what even is today? I know it's the third. It's Saturday. Saturday the 3rd of May. We're going strong, episode 42. And I believe we hit 125 subscribers today, so thank you for that. We're on our way to 150. Or not 150, 500. So if you're on YouTube, subscribe. We're trying to get there. I don't know how long it'll take us, but we'll get there eventually. But with that being said, let's get started today. For today's segments, we have 3 segments today. We have one on the Trump administration, per usual. We have far-right parties being rejected across the world, and we have the other news segment as always. Opening up with the Trump administration segment, per normal, we have 3 topics here to cover today. Those topics are Trump has posted a picture of himself as the Pope. Trump says the economy will be okay with a short-term recession, and a Guatemalan woman was detained after giving birth, and the child was left in the hospital. Let's get started. Trump has posted a picture of himself as Pope. The White House posted an AI-generated photo of Trump depicted as the Pope on Friday after he joked that he would like to be the Pope. In an image that was first posted by Trump on his True Social account, comes as cardinals are set to begin the conclave on May 7th to decide a new pope. Trump made this joke days after returning from Pope Francis's funeral. This is not the first time the White House has used AI to depict Trump, as previously they used it to depict him as a king, and even now they've used it to create a MAGA lo-fi beat on the White House official page and YouTube. MAGA will defend this and call it a joke, and sure it might be, but that doesn't mean it's a good one. I believe I heard some information about this being not supported and put down by Catholic figures, but I couldn't find any information on it at the time, so maybe not. Not too sure on that one. But yeah, rather than sharing his condolences, instead Trump wishes to make it about him, and that's really fucked up for one, and he can't even be Pope for two. I mean, he's not religious, nor is he Catholic, and at the end of the day, he's just going to make these posts to rile us up and get our attention, and that's unprofessional and something the president should never do. Because it speaks volumes about how childish you are if you want to rile up your people with a statement like that, or go after religious figures with a statement like that. I mean, he can't be the Pope. He's not even a cardinal. Does he not know that? Probably not. Probably not. Moving on. Trump says the economy will be okay with a short-term recession. In an interview with NBC, Trump said that the economy would be okay in the long term if there were a short-term recession. He was asked not once but twice by Meet the Press moderator Christy Walker whether it would be okay, and he said, "Look, yeah, everything's okay. What we are," I said, "this is a transition period. I think we are going to do fantastically." He cut himself up, or paused. Those are the pauses. That's why that sounds odd. Walker asked Trump if he was worried about it, asked Trump if he was worried about it, and he said no. When asked what he thought would happen, he said, "Anything can happen, but I think we're going to have the greatest economy in the history of our country." He blamed the current numbers on Biden because he didn't come into office until January. This isn't Biden's fault. We all know that, and if you don't, clearly you've been living under a rock for the past 4 months, 4.5 at this point. A recession will have impacts on our economy for years. There is no such thing as a short-term recession. Things like this sends huge ripples through our economy that take ages to recover from. We're still recovering from what COVID did to our economy now, and now we're just going to with something that's 10 times worse and probably will last 10 times as long. COVID has had many impacts on, price rises and, the pricing of things across the country. And we're still seeing impacts on that on that today. Of course, before Trump was president, towards the last few months of Biden's administration, prices did start to lower quite a bit. And from what I remember, I do remember gas definitely dropped quite a bit before Trump became president. And I mean, that's just proof that this really isn't Biden's fault. Before Trump came into office, Biden had a great economy and he was doing well, just for Trump to ruin it with his tariffs. It is all Trump's fault. Moving on, a Guatemalan woman was detained after giving birth and the child was left at the hospital. A Guatemalan woman named Erica has been detained by ICE after giving birth at the Tucson Medical Center. 13 News confirmed the woman was discharged, but the child remains in the hospital. Luis Campos, who will be representing her, told 13 News that he hadn't gotten the chance to speak to her because federal officials won't let him. Campos said, "I have not received a phone call or have I been allowed to call her. She is incommunicado at this point." A day after her birth, Campos went to TMC to talk to her so he could represent her. He said, "There are federal agents, the DHS agents, posted immediately outside the door. I was told this specifically by DHS agents. They would deny access to any visitors, including family, friends, including her attorney." According to Campos, the Border Patrol had found her walking through the desert. He was told he needed a signed G-28 agreement to prove that he was representing her. Campos said he had the documents completed, but agents would not let him meet Erica for her to sign. She has since been moved. Campos has no idea where she is, but he is determined to represent her. This is insane. Not only was she detained after her birth, which is terrible. I'm like 99% sure that is not something that you are able to do, and women should or are supposed to remain in the hospital with the child after they are born. But I'm not the most well-versed on human anatomy and birth, so I might be wrong on that. Correct me if I'm wrong. But she has been taken from her child. I'm glad this lawyer is so determined to represent her. That is something we need. That is something that we need for this situation, because this is a very situation that should be solved as soon as possible. She was likely seeking refuge, as many people do, from Central America, and she likely could have a bad situation waiting for her if she returns. Good luck to Luis Campos. I hope she is able to find Erica and win this case for her and her child. And I hope the child is able to be reunited with its mother. Yeah. Moving on to the next segment, we have two things to cover today. Australia has rejected its conservative movements, and the German AfD party has been labeled as extremist. Australia has rejected the conservative movement. The Australian Labor Party's Anthony Albanese has been re-elected in a landslide. Officials voting won't end for another few days, but Albanese's centre-left government will increase its majority after the Conservative Liberal National Coalition suffered a massive defeat nationwide. Albanese said in a statement, "Today Australian people have voted for Australian values, for fairness, aspiration, and opportunity for all, for the strength to show courage in adversity and kindness for those in need." Coalition leader Peter Dutton, who even lost his own seat after 24 years, said he accepted full responsibility for his party's loss. I'll be honest, I didn't follow this election as much as I followed Canada or Germany's previous election. But from what I've heard, this is a great thing. So congratulations to Australia. Shout out to you guys. I know I have a bit of a following out there, not the largest, but I got a few of you guys. And shout out to my homie Businessman. We play Minecraft together. He's my goat. Anyways, moving on. The German AfD party has been labeled as an extremist. I would like to thank my friend Roger Wren for bringing me this article. According to Frankfurt AM / the Berlin EDP / DPA, With the Federal Office for the Protection of the Constitution's classification of the AFD as confirmed right-wing extremists, the discussion about a possible party ban is gaining momentum again. The CDU/CSU parliamentary group reacted cautiously for calls for the initiation of a swift ban proceedings against the AFD. In light of the Federal Office for Protection and Constitution's assessment of the AFD's classification, we must now carefully analyze what consequences this could have dealing with this party, said Alexander Throm, domestic party spokesman for the CDU/CSU parliamentary group, to the Ashburger Allgemeine newspaper. According to a statement, the Federal Office for the Protection of the Constitution has classified the AFD and confirmed the right-wing extremists since Friday due to extremist character of the entire party, which disregards human dignity. Proceedings to ban the party can only be initiated by the Bundestag and the Bundesrat and the federal government. The final decision as to whether the party is unconstitutional rests with the Federal Constitutional Court. AFD federal spokesperson Alice Weidel and Tino Charupala criticized the Federal Office for the Protection of the Constitution's upgrade for their party status as policy motivated and announced they would take legal action against it. Beatrix von Storch, deputy chairwoman in AFD's parliamentary group, also reiterated the view of the ARD's Tagsmith's Men program on Friday evening, criticizing the fact that the AFD did not have access to the report containing evidence from the Federal Office for the Protection of the Constitution. Berlin Justice Senator Feller Balden, CDU, emphasized on the Deutschlandfunk, I think that's how you say that. It's hard to pronounce these words sometimes, my apologies. Emphasized on Saturday that there is no legal right to publication of the Federal Office, however, protection on Constitution's report. However, if the AFD takes legal action against the decision, the report will also be made available to it. Baldenberg said. The candidate for the FDP chairman, Christian Durr, spoke out against the application to ban the AFD at the Federal Consultants Court in Funke Media Group's newspaper Saturday. The signal to the voters who made the AFD the second strongest party in the federal election would be fatal. Durr demanded we must politically diminish the AFD again by finally solving concrete problems. In contrast, Bundestag Vice President Omid Norpour, Greens, advocated for proceedings to ban AFD. The decision of the Federal Office for the Protection of the Constitution is consistent and a good basis for a timely ban, he told the Redaktionsnetzwerk Deutschland R&D. A resilient democracy cannot stand and watch its own disintegration at the hands of anti-democrats without consequences, Marco Walderitz, a CEU politician and co-initiator of proceedings to ban the AFD, also now sees better conditions for banning the party. In an interview with RTL and NTV on Friday evening, Wanderwitz emphasized that a ban on the AFD is the most effective means of inspiring people to support parties in democratic center, and that's why the AFD must be eliminated, so to speak. We want to be successful, when Wanderwitz said. According to the newspaper report, the classification of the AFD by the Federal Office for the Protection of the Constitution's confirmed right-wing extremists will also be a topic of the next conference for Interior Ministers. The current chairman of the Conference for Interior Ministers, Bremen's Interior Senator Ulrich Maurer, SPD, will ensure that the issue will be addressed at the Conference of Interior Ministers in Bremerhaven in June. A spokesperson told the Redaktionsnetzwerk Deutschland, German editorial newspaper. She added that Maurer will also invite a representative of the Federal Office for the Protection of the Constitution. This is very much for the better. For those who don't remember, AfD was the party who supported the actions of Hitler and Nazi Germany and was highly supported by J.D. Vance and Elon Musk. Yes, they are one of the most powerful groups in the German government right now. But if banned, that would likely change things, for the better. So much better, in fact. Germany is quite strong economically and could be military wise, so it's probably best that we don't see them on the wrong side of history again, because that would be a scary team up between the United States and Germany. That's for sure. Man, I wish they could do that here in the United States. Moving on to the other news segment today, we have two topics for the final segment today. Wisconsin governor said he is not afraid of Trump, and the Maine governor has beat Trump in court. Wisconsin's Governor Tony Evers said on Friday that every American should be concerned about chilling suggestions from Trump's top border advisor. He said that he could be arrested over guidance that the Democrat issued state employees about what to do if confronted by federal immigration agents. "I am not afraid," Evers said in a video posted on YouTube. "I have never once been discouraged from doing the right thing, and I will not start today." The issue at the table is guidance Evers and his administration issued last month in response to state workers asking what to do if they were approached by ICE officers. Republicans argue that the guidance was an order from Evers not to cooperate with ICE. Evers accused Republicans of lying about spreading misinformation to fuel a fake controversy for their own creation. The order only asks employees to ensure that they have a lawyer present to help them comply with applicable laws. To anyone who hasn't watched the video, highly recommend it. It was a great video to watch. If we allow Trump to arrest a governor, that allows him to do anything. That gets rid of the separation the states kind of have between the federal government in every degree. That is something we cannot allow to happen, because that makes Trump king. That makes him dictator. That makes him the sole leader of the United States if he is able to arrest the governor of a state, or if he is able to arrest a judge. If Trump is able to arrest someone in another office, that makes him a king. That is something we cannot allow. If we wanted a king, we never would have left Great Britain in the first place. And I know that it is definitely, unfortunate, if there is a heaven, and I'm not religious, so I don't know, but if there is, and the founding fathers are sitting up there watching, I know they're definitely upset right now. Especially George Washington, man. That man is turning in his grave over the administration. Oh, I feel so bad for him. Imagine being the first president of a country and just to watch it all go to shit, not even 50 presidents later. I mean, wow. Maine's governor has beat Trump in court. The Trump administration has agreed not to freeze funds to Maine schools after it targeted the state for decisions to support transgender rights. In a settlement disclosed on Friday, the U.S. Department of Agriculture said it would halt all efforts to withhold funds for children's nutrition programs in Maine. Previously, the USDA had suspended those dollars after Maine officials said the state would not comply with Trump's demands that trans girls be barred from girls' sports. In February, Maine's Governor Janet Mills had responded, "We'll see you in court," an exchange between the governor and the president about the situation. Maine sued the USDA to maintain funding on Friday and won the lawsuit. Trans rights are human rights. Anyone who disagrees is wrong and a terrible person. Nobody should be able to dictate how somebody wants to live their life, especially an old man, and Maine has protected that right here. Trans people are men and women just like the rest of us, and they deserve as much rights as the rest of us. But with that being said, thank you everyone for watching this video. Hope all of you guys enjoyed. Bit of a longer one today, but some of them are always longer than others. If you're on YouTube, consider dropping a sub. Consider liking the video and dropping a comment down below on your thoughts. We're on our way to 500 subscribers, as I mentioned earlier in the video, and we'll get there eventually. If you're on Substack, please consider pledging your support. all funds go to me. They help me pay for the things that I will need to pay for in college, like food and all the other things. So yeah, thank you everyone for watching. I will see you all in tomorrow's episode. Later.